another couple?
Yeah.
So this area is one of the areas that needs to be redone, basically?
This
Did I
area
get
has
it
been
correct?
done.
Okay, I
Yeah.
thought that you were saying it
Yeah.
needs to be redone, but
No.
okay.
This area of Northern High
Right.
has been redone, and part of their money that we have set aside will be to do the rest of the building.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you just said that the reason that you wanted to bundle it all together was to not leave the school behind, that's my words, not yours. I'm just thinking one option that would be pretty easy to not have that happen would be to say, okay, we'll float if the pool is the biggest pain point, or whatever the biggest pain point is, right? If it's the athletic stuff and the pool, do that next year. And I mean, if you divide 340 million by 4, then you've got quite a bit of money still. If you floated 140 million before, you could do half of this and it's still only 170. So I think it could have easily been split up and still address, say, okay, every school that needs a roof is getting a roof, and if you need the whatever, you're still getting it, and just ask for it in pieces instead of the whole 340 million. So I guess that part of it doesn't quite make sense to me, because you could easily just say, we're doing the pool this year, and then we're gonna do the next stuff next time, and ask for it periodically. I mean, I'm not trying to ascribe reasoning, but was there any concern like, hey, the economy's doing pretty crappy here, we better ask for this money now? Did that ever enter the conversation? Are you allowed to share that?
So your first point, and let me just talk about this, is, you know, the $340 million isn't done it all at once.
Yes, I know.
So in a sense, that's what we are doing, right? We're asking the community ahead of time, though, for that $340 million, so that in 4 years, we don't have to go back out again and say, hey, you know, give us another $100 million so we can continue down the road.
But why not? Everything's passed all the time, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I haven't lived here, what, like 9 years? It seems to me everybody's always said, sure, got the money, take it, it's fine, we're fine. And so I don't understand this thought that it's a pain in the rear to ask for it every 5 years, because it seems like you're getting it. So what's I just don't understand. I don't understand why it has to all be done now when it seems like it's been pretty smooth sailing.
Well, and I think for us, it was to be able to tell the community that we are addressing every school and every space, right? That we're not saying, you know, these are the 3 schools, or these are the 3 schools, these are the 4 schools that we're gonna do with this bond right now, and so we know we're gonna do that, and then we hope that in 5 years, if we go out again to the community, that they'll give us authorization to do the next 4 schools. So as a system, we made that decision to say, we're gonna bundle everything together, we're gonna look at projects through the year 2031, takes our life cycle replacement through the year 2031, and then gives us authorization to do those school renovations like we like to do.
Okay. I know we touched on bathrooms last time we were here, and I know you didn't want to go to the drug direction, but hearing that was a huge pain point at the last meeting, something I wasn't aware of, that the bathrooms are vandalized, kids aren't using the bathrooms, they're scared to use the bathrooms, it's disgusting, whatever, these were words that were used, not for me. Would that be included should it be in here? Or is that a repair? Is that a renovation, or is that a repair?
It depends on what's done, right? So replacing toilet seats
Right.
is a repair, right? Redoing a bathroom, putting in new tile because the tile is outdated, you know, that'd be part of renovation.
Okay. Are you aware of how bad things are? Because I don't think we got into details last week, but the words used multiple times where my kids don't want to use the bathroom.
Yeah, so we actually spoke to that individual just to get a sense of, okay, what are you hearing from your students, right?
And there were several parents.
What aren't they? Well, the one who brought it up,
Mhm.
right? So our director of operations spoke to that individual afterwards to say, just help me understand, what is it? What are your students thinking about those bathrooms? Are they not clean? No, that's not it. Are there issues with like pieces broken or that type of thing? Yeah, there were some issues, but those have all been taken care of. Okay. Just trying to wrap my head around, what is it? It's outdated. So, you know, everybody has a different opinion on what things look like and what they need to be done, but that individual had said to us that it was just outdated.
That's really strange, because the words used were disgusting, vaping, toilet seats ripped off, filthy. I think I heard filthy, so that doesn't sound like outdated.
Well, I'm just repeating what that individual said, so,
Okay.
I can't change that.
Yeah, no, you can't. That's interesting. Okay, thanks.
Do you have a new location for the aquatic center?
Oh,
If you
yes,
have the
yes,
new
great,
aquatic center?
thanks. We do, it would be over on the same campus, where the current one, sits. Right now, we are looking at, kind of on the back side of the Fine Arts Center. That's the space that's probably large enough to hold something of this square footage. But we would have to then, I mean, that's our preliminary. When we, if this was approved and we started to do that work, we would have to do, surveying to make sure that that was the space that we could actually build on.
Thank you.
Either one.
You guys decide who goes first, because you go up at the same time.
Doesn't matter. Looks like a large piece of the budget for each location is for improvements to the learning environment.
Yeah.
I'm not certain what that
What that means.
It-
Yeah.
Does that mean gutting classrooms, rebuilding them, or creating areas like we're seeing now? What does that mean?
Yes, it could be any of those, right? And we haven't done, that's part of that detailed design work, like when we get down to it, what does that look like? In our elementary facilities, what that has looked like, it's creating more visibility from the hallway into those classrooms. So still making sure that those classrooms are safe and secure. And, as the students have to, get out of sight if there was something to happen. But creating more visibility, creating spaces that were more for small group learning, some collaboration, and whether that's collaboration by staff or students, creating spaces like that. This space is a little unique here at Northern. This is a space that we call Project Next, where this part of the school does a lot of project-based learning. So we created a space where they can work in very large groups, or they can work in very small groups. And if you were to come here and ask if you can kind of walk through during the day, you would see students scattered all throughout the space, at different points doing work. In fact, they had to clear up projects, so all that stuff, those black curtains right there on both sides, that was all scattered all over the floor. So it's gonna be school dependent. I talked about, we did those facility walkthroughs with those principals, and listened to what's working and what's not working as they had their conversation with their teachers. When we sit down and start to design, that's when some of this type of stuff starts coming out, like what exactly will it look like.
Are there pictures of what's going on at Fornable and Commons out there, and do that would help people?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit on our website. We have on the, if you go to just a regular bond website, we have a construction blog that has some photographs of the work that has been done in some of our elementary buildings. This is probably out here too. I believe there's some brief videos that you can see some of that work as well. So those are good spaces to look at. And that's part of why we intentionally picked the 3 spots that we did for these community presentations to give folks just a window into some of the work that we've already done, so you can try to wrap your head around what does that mean, because each one is different.
Yep.
I'm gonna go to him first, because you had your hand raised, and then I'll go back to
Yeah,
you.
so I don't doubt the requirement that, things need to be improved and everything else. I'm very interested, if this does go forward, what your process within the school system looks like when you start binning these different how you're gonna prioritize, how you bin each of these things, who makes these decisions, like you mentioned stakeholders, what input the community's gonna have on that kind of thing. Because, personally, it's neither here nor there if one school gets something or another one to me. What concerns me is just making sure that there is a plan, long-term plan, and
Yeah.
what that looks like.
Yeah.
Because I'm hesitant as well, looking at, a huge sum of money all at one time without, a plan with much granularity. Understanding that at this point in the nascent stages, you're just doing an estimate.
Yeah.
But what does that look like over time? How does the planning occur? Who are making the decisions? And what input does the community have?
Sure. So what it looks like is, and I'll just speak to, why don't I talk about this process, this building,
Sure.
and this section of the building, like what we did. So we have a team of people that get together. We have representatives from our construction management firm. We have our architects that are there. We had principals that were at the table, other district staff, like our technology was there, and our operations director, that type of thing. For this particular space, we actually had some students involved in some of the design work as well. So the way that works is we sit down as a group, and we start at the very beginning, right? In this case, we would go through, these are the things we heard when we did the walkthroughs, right? And then, the architects will then start putting some detail into like, okay, this is what I heard, so I'm gonna design this. And then we continue to meet and refine that. And then we get to a point in there where, we turn that over to our construction managers, say, okay, give us a cost estimate based on what we've done so far, right? With this design, what is this, where are we at? And then we just continue to refine it. Oh, we're way over. Nope, we're gonna have to peel some back, right? We can't do all of that. We don't have that much in the budget to do that work. So then we start to look at priorities, right? What is your priority then as a building? We can't do everything that's on your wish list. So we need to start peeling that back. What might that look like? What are you willing to give up because we have to be within budget?
I'd recommend you look at priorities first and then figure out if you have enough money to do it, but, so, what I'm interested in is how these chunks are broken down, because you said you're gonna go every couple of years and then apply the next amount of monies towards what you're
Yeah, we
trying to
issue them
do.
in series.
Right,
Yep,
in series,
yep.
that's what you use, so,
Yeah.
I'd like to see something that, for each one of these series in time and space, time being how long this is gonna take, and space
Yeah.
where it's gonna be, so that there's more fidelity and granularity for the population, the public, to really look at and see how things are going. And that's, I know it's extra work on people to do that kind of planning, but that's the level of detail, because I made the mistake on getting on social media about 2 weeks ago, and that's how I found out about all of this.
Okay.
Was the uproar on social media, on certain sites. And, my takeaway is, it's just, there's not enough granularity for the general population out there with this huge sum of money that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So if people can actually see and understand what we're doing, because I don't think anybody questions the need to provide better facilities for students. That'd be kind of ridiculous. But they do require, they wanna know where their money's going, and they wanna see the process, they wanna understand the process. Because I know I would, especially over, next 10 years or so.
Do you mean before the vote? Is that what
It's
you're
not gonna
saying?
happen before the vote.
It's not, I'm
There's not
just
enough
saying
time.
that's
You gotta
what-
back that stuff
Right.
up a long ways, but
Right.
knowing that would occur would lend itself towards me supporting these initiatives, knowing that we're taking this seriously, and that there's gonna be input, and that there is gonna be a process that everybody can see and understand.
Yeah, so, I just talked through our design process and what
Right.
that looks like, right? So that's the process that we would use, for probably for all of it. There might be some added components related to the community aquatic center and the aquatic center, right?
There
Getting
always
to that,
is.
because I'm not a pool person, right? I'm not an expert in pool, I'm not an expert in instructional spaces, so I rely on those who use those spaces to help guide our design work. So we would do that, that work for each of the projects.
Okay.
And then, we talked earlier about then, there are requirements for us to bid. So we can't just
Sure.
pick
Yeah,
anybody to
I
come in and do
understand
it.
all that.
Yeah, we have to bid that out. Did you already ask your question?
No, not yet. I actually have 4 of them at this point. And they all build on each other. The first question is, you mentioned a construction blog. Is that construction blog updated by FHPS administration or the building companies and the contracting companies?
That's updated by our construction management firm, O&E Kimball.
Second question then, where can we find this? Where's the website at, or where's the link to this website so that we can take a look at it?
Yeah, so if you go to our homepage, fhps.net, it's over on the right-hand side. There's a link there for it to be able to get to the current bond, the current blog.
Is there a question, on that site, has there been any consideration to or the beginnings of a preliminary construction blog for what could or will happen should this bond be passed? In other words, have they started the preliminary phases and started creating a blog of, we're thinking this is going to be this much money for utilities, we're thinking this is going to be this much money for maintenance, or this much for paving? Or has it not come to that until the bond gets passed?
It's the latter part.
It's the latter,
So we
okay.
would do something like that after the bond gets passed
And-
and start construction.
Fourth question, how can the lay public be made aware of updates to this blog? short of, dipping in and checking? Will there be regular updates from the board? Will there be regular updates from FHPS administration or from the construction firms?
That's a great question, and to that answer, we have a new communications director, she's with us this evening, Elizabeth Brink. So she, will continue to refine our communications to our community and make sure that we're keeping everybody updated with what's going on.
Thank you.
I had a question regarding the new aquatic center.
Sure.
Obviously, it's what, $51-some million, it's the highest item that I saw there. And you mentioned the need for 2 pools, right? And I was wondering about that specifically with relation to the other pool, the old pool, the current pool, yes. Is that, I don't know, just thinking out loud here, why spend $8.1 million to fill in the existing pool? Why not use that as the second pool? You see what I'm asking? I mean, I don't know what location you're, so they're gonna be at the same location. I would think it would be more cost effective to have that be a secondary pool and save money on building up entirely new one and then save money on filling in